as, as interesting as I can, because death by PowerPoint. So we try to limit the slides, and I'll go fairly quickly. Nicole, I think I have like 15 minutes, and then we'll open up for some questions for 5 minutes. Is that right? Don't want to.
That would be fine, John. You can take your time, and we'll have time at the end for some questions.
Yeah, make sure we keep people's interest too. So the VMO. So what's new about this office, right? There's lots of vendor management offices around different agencies. GSA has one or a couple. This kind of grew out of a need. A couple of years ago, GSA was working closely with OMB and probably 8 or 10 different agencies on something called COS, which was the Civilian Enterprise Office System, and it's mainly Microsoft issues, trying to get their office in front, use Azure, and figure out how to get that licensed, get favorable terms and conditions. And so those agencies came together, and a lot of great discussions. We were able to share pricing and terms and conditions, and just have some real deep discussions on strategy, working with Microsoft, and so we could leverage all they have to offer, and yet get the best value. So when that effort ended, we just, you can go back a slide, but when that effort ended, we just took some time and just said, boy, that was really helpful to get everybody together in an IPT forum. And so then OMB started to do some work behind the scenes to put together this office, just to kind of continue that momentum. So we have lots of champions here in this slide. On the left, Leslie Field, Maria Rote, who we work with almost on a bi-weekly basis, Jennifer Cuck day to day, Jamie and Alex, as well. And they really were kind of the fodder behind this to get this moving. Get the funding, get everything established formally, and then we decided that it would be nice to have an executive steering committee where we're going to get our direction in the VMO. So when you think of the VMO in our office, you really think of us as we're kind of a broker between the agencies and their needs, and helping them with their hard acquisition challenges, and then coordinating with different vendors on the other side, so we understand what their product sets are, how to best deal with those agencies, then provide some sage advice and guidance to the acquisition folks, who are renewing different contracts. So we have a government-wide focus. We are not just GSA. We're sponsored by GSA, but we're really government-wide. So when you think of us, that's the way to look at us. We support all agencies. We're very agnostic when it comes to vehicles, and that's why we're partnered with NASA SOUP and NITAC and OMB as well. Really kind of like some of the main IT vehicles, but we do work with all the big vehicles. There's I think 12 or 13 of those as well, and we engage with all of those folks directly as well. So we have a fairly large charter and a set of initiatives. We have a fairly small team, but I think we're lean and but focused, right? I'll get into some of all of what we're up to. And I think we have lots of opportunities here to leverage and work with different agencies and pseudo government, public agencies, and ACT-IAC. They come to mind. They're strong partners with GSA, and they have been for many years, going way back. And I was always impressed to attend and listen to what was going on and learn, for some real experts over here. And I see from the latest committee, you've got no shortage of really capable folks on there. So the only way I'm going to be successful in this VMO is to really leverage and others, their SME experience, their brain trust around, some of the tougher challenges we're facing. So I think this is kind of the first of many meetings and discussions that we want to have. This is a little more formal because I'm trying to kick it off. And anybody that knows me, there is an ask at the end. You know, I'm good. I'm looking for partnerships. I'm looking for content, and kind of working together to solve problems. And that's the only way, again, we'll be successful, because we have a fairly large, broad, if you think about the number of agencies and sub-agencies and bureaus, and then the number of vendors and the vendor community in the IT space, it's growing. Maybe 4,000 plus on GSA schedules and GWACs. It's onerous, right? So I'm trying to figure out, as a director here, how do we manage this? How do we scale it? But how do we add real value? And I'll get into that in a second. So next slide. I hit some of this already, but we have, the challenge with when we work in COS with, trying to help the agencies, secure their Microsoft front office and their collaboration products, and, leverage some of the cloud. That's a prime example of, where the agencies came together. We saw, lots of challenges on the left. That's just one example, but across the federal space, there are, lots of duplicative efforts, and, we're dealing with incomplete data sets. The agreements could be different in many cases. I mean, I see this, in my dealings with some of the large OEMs and what agencies sign. They can be quite different, and not, so our job here is to really kind of take on some of these challenges, and leverage these opportunities so that we can, just do a bit better in the federal market space when we order and secure, products and services. It's even become more, more complex with cloud, and that's where all of the large OEMs are headed. That's their business model. That's how they report to the street. And so we're in the middle of some really interesting, conversations with the agencies and with the OEMs directly. So, my job, we don't try to get in and, pick apart OEMs and, and play favorites at all. We're really trying to, leverage our experience and the experience of agency experts to bring everybody up to the same playing field. So lots of work to do there, but lots of opportunities here for our office as well. So next slide. Yeah, so we have a kind of a call to action that we set forward when we started, and I'll kind of break these down quickly, but we definitely wanted to be a source where we could provide IT acquisition intelligence capability, around terms and conditions and pricings and products. There's 3,000 plus vendors, so we have some contract support staff that's going to help us with some of this analysis, but it's really trying to create a one-stop shop where agencies can come and say, hey, listen, I'm renewing my contract with vendor X, and I'd like to get the latest intel. Can you give me any guidance on pricing? Can you give me any guidance on negotiation? Can you tell me what's changed with that particular OEM or vendor? And that's what we'll be responsible to do. So we'll collect that repository, and eventually we'll have a lot of this information available to our federal partners. So the other side of it is the IT vendor relationships, right? We want to make sure that we can help our vendor partners, not only get on contracts, but get and be part of government contracts that are meaningful to them. I mean, I've been in industry and I see it where small companies in general, you can spend a ton of time, as a vendor, trying to get on a contract. You do all the work, you pay your fee to onboard, and then, you're only seeing 10% of the companies, garnering most of the work, and it's frustrating. So I think we're going to see some changes here. I just kind of, we're not intimately involved yet, but I think we will be. There's a new executive order coming out from the Biden administration around small business and the focus to include more small businesses in the mix. So I really hope to be a part of that. We're actually going to dedicate. I've got some detailees coming on. We're going to dedicate some folks to help them with that. GSA has a pretty good program about how to onboard the GSA vehicles, but we want to expand that to NITAC and SUP, and really try to, I think we're trying to figure it out, and ITC at GSA we're responsive about how to kind of level the playing field. So it's in the discussions. It's these discussions are happening at the leadership level. So that's something that I'm excited to be a part of. Obviously, cyber is a big issue. We have some folks at GSA, Sean Labonovitz, who leads our Scrum efforts, supply chain risk management. She's kind of running that. It was just announced she's going to run that for FAS and ITC at GSA. But again, as part of that broker relationship, we're going to leverage what she's doing. I think Warren and the team put together a great webinar on supply chain risk management. So if you haven't seen that, I think that's available. Warren, I don't know if you're on mute, but is that available to this audience? If you're listening.
Hey, John. Yes. No, it's not, because we ended up not recording it due to some issues with some of the speakers. Yeah.
But I think the plan is to try to do it again. So,
yeah, we are going to try to do it in the fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a ton of work happening in that space, and I think that would be something that this group here would be, very interested in as well, and the kind of progress we're making, and to at least get some a background on, how we're operating, what our agenda is, and what we're trying to, what our outcomes are here. So I'll ask, I'll take an action and coordinate with Sean as I'm thinking about it, and Sean and Warren can speak to it pretty capably as well. But to try to set something up in the future. I mentioned data quality, just a couple more points in this slide. That we have a program in ITC where we're building out some of this capability, through FPDS and other sources. And I know in Warren's world on government-wide, he's working closely with the PMO. But the idea is we're not doing a lot of work sharing right now with not only with the agencies, but with the vendor community. We like to be doing more of that in the future, to make sure that everybody has the same type of quality data to make decisions around. I'm talking about budget data, spend data, cost savings, and we can at some point, a lot of this is wrapped up in our category management strategy plan. Next slide. Am I doing on time? I got a few more minutes. Yeah. So our governance model is pretty clean, I think, as clean as we could make it. We have a steering committee on the left here at the top. OMB is a part of that. And the good news is we're really getting our direction, and some of the challenges that agencies are trying to solve through the CIOs and the CAOs, that general counsel. We did a survey last December. We got lots of great responses, and they had us focus on 4 large OEMs that they thought the ITVMO could help work with and get better value. So we've been focused on, we recently completed one with Oracle. And, we're trying to work with Oracle now on some of the government-wide, challenges that we're seeing. Oracle seems to be pretty receptive to work with us there. We'll be working an IPT with Microsoft, Amazon Web Services, and then Adobe as well. So we've got 4 teed up. We're running out of bandwidth this year. It's already July, so I'm hoping to get to these. Microsoft will be kicking off fairly soon. We're working an agency data call now to try to help us understand the licensing posture of the agencies, and as they move from, say, a G3 license to a G5, that take advantage of and leverage some of the security bundles and upgrades, as well as some of the different offerings that you can upgrade to. So that's part of some ongoing analysis. As I mentioned, we have ITC, SUP, NIH, and DoD as partners. DoD is kind of a silent partner now, but I hope to co-opt them a little bit more and engage. I used to do some of that through through Floyd Gross's shop and their software shop as part of their CIO. And then, down below, where in the program management office, we're really focused on, vendor management, category management, data analytics. And again, just think of us as we want to be a principal content provider, or at least a source where we can point people to where they need to go. And we seem to be doing that. We seem to be getting lots of, first order questions about products and vendors, and certainly lots of vendors that want to meet with us and showcase, their capabilities. So a lot happening for a small office. Very interesting. And again, my challenge would be to continue to scale this to make sure we're adding real value. So we have some priorities here. You can really think of this VMO as an extension of category management, and it's not time to do that brief justice here, but we really are trying to tackle some of the harder issues. Making sure that agencies are aware of the best contracts to buy the products they're looking for, to partner with the small businesses, and really help agencies along that supply chain, so they're buying products that aren't at risk. And that's going to take some work, I think, to really mature that. So I'll, as I mentioned, I'll take an action on that bottom piece, the supply chain piece, and see if we can maybe do a follow-on with this group, because I think it'd be of interest. Okay, next slide. How are we doing on time? Because I'm not paying attention. We got a few more minutes.
About 5-10 minutes would
I can go
be great.
Pretty quickly through some of these. So I talked about some of this of what we're trying to do here. This is kind of a busy slide on advancing IT category management, but Warren is our focal point. He works directly with the PMO, which is out of GSA, and we support right now it's Laura Stanton in a lot of this. But we're really it's category management is something that you don't know a lot about it. It's definitely here to stay. It seems to be in the forefront of what certainly what GSA is about. We're hearing from other, even Laura Stanton mentioned this morning at their strategy discussion that she had within FAST that the Army Secretary gave a spiel on category management, and they're looking for help in this area. So we're seeing a lot of benefit here to try to organize, and really support, IT acquisitions, again, to get best value. So there's a lot to discuss here in category management. Again, we'll always love an opportunity to tell you more about what we're doing here, but we can certainly share some briefs as well on this. Next slide. Yeah, this is going to be a big piece. I think going forward is what we're being asked to engage in. Presently we're engaged in a couple of executive orders. One is the Made in America executive order. We're providing some of the data for that as well. I know Warren's done a good job for the VMO setting up, key meetings with SBA and with, the OSDBU Council. We just met recently as well with the Government for Coalition Partners that had some real interest here. So we're going to see lots of energy, I think, around this area in small business. So I think as we get moving down this area, we'll have more of our initiatives flushed out. So you kind of stay tuned to our website as we continue to evolve this. But, it's really about really trying to engage more and not just, pay this lip service. Again, this is going to be front and center with the Biden administration. We're getting a heads up on it already. And the great thing is we're seeing, even with emerging technology, some really strong companies and products and capabilities coming out that agencies, will be looking to leverage. So I think we'll do a good job in the VMO at kind of spearheading some of this, making sure that we can, work with groups like this, as well as, within GSA, SUP and NITAC to make sure we get these companies, on contracts, and then aware of what's available and how to bid and how to win work. So there's lots to do in this space, but some real advantages, for all of us to make this happen. So next slide. Yeah, I talked about some of this. This is more of a process slide. But again, we're looking at, we just finished up an IPT, and IPT is an integrated project team, and it's really a simple concept. It's kind of a coalition of the willing. We get together and we really work together on common challenges around certain problems. So we had one with, I just mentioned with Oracle, we had, I think, 5 or 6 different meetings. We had maybe 20 to 25 different agencies attending, really broad discussions. We were able to kind of pinpoint some of the common, challenges with Oracle that agencies were facing, not complaints so much, but just trying to better understand how to use and leverage, Oracle products, make sure they're in compliance and paying, the best prices possible. So we went through this process. We kind of identified, prioritized, did some analysis, and now we have a couple of different outcomes. We're going to brief our CIO shop on, on behalf of the agencies. This is the Fed CIOs. And then we'll take an opportunity to meet with Oracle directly and to address this. So that's a key role for the VMO and these IPTs. We're really going to be in the middle, trying to use our experience and expertise to work with these OEMs to get the best value possible. I don't go into it, wise-eyed open that I'm going to reduce pricing or, but I think what we can do is, make sure that we're paying, apples to apples. We get common, we're paying common prices that aren't too disparate in range, and we're also, getting the absolute best value out of these products. And there's lots of challenges around each vendor, but so far, I mean, I think everybody's been that I've talked to, not only the agency side but on the OEM side, is very receptive to this. So if we can standardize some things and make this easier for agencies that don't have the wherewithal to compete, and take advantage of the expertise of some of the larger agencies who are doing it really well, then we'll have met the mark in my estimate. So next slide. And I'm just about ready to wrap up. I think I talked to this. I'll just leave this as kind of a background slide. Let's see what's next. Next slide. Yeah, so this is a point I wanted to make where you can really help us here. So we have, and Kyra set this up with OMB, done a great job. IdeaScale, it's something that OMB has sponsored that we're a part of, but we're trying to improve our IT vendor, government communication and collaboration. So we have a section in here, and we'd really like if you could, share your ideas with us. Everything's wide open. Your ideas get posted. They're kind of rank ordered by the group that's engaged in this particular idea. You can subscribe to different campaigns, and it's quite interesting, to see some of the responses. We've gotten some great ideas out of this IdeaScale, working with the industry. I had an industry day not too long ago. Great responses, and so I was really looking for ideas around content management. How do I engage industry, get the best of their content? They have, always, from an industry perspective, you're looking at things that come out of the government, you scratch your head like, who wrote this RFQ? I mean, I don't know how to bid this, and the only way I could bid it is to include all the risks that I see here, and then prices go up as an example. So what we're trying to do here is, really leverage the ideas of industry, get their best, their best documentation around acquisition. This is how you write great requirements for cloud. This is how you write a SOO, a statement of objectives, or this is how you, approach, problems X, Y, or Z. So we'll have a site, kind of some links and pages on our website, the ITVMO website, that'll be dedicated to the industry side, because we are in a collaboration with industry. That's the only way we'll be successful, I think, in this office, is to really be that, as I mentioned a few times, that broker in the middle between agencies and vendors, and do those handoffs. So just take a look at this site if you can. I don't know if did we post the link here?
We can share a link back with Lisa and the team at ACT-IAC, and if you guys would be willing to share that out with participants, that would be great.
Yeah, I found some instructions. I found some instructions online and put it in the chat. So I think you have to get that OFPP account login. That'll help you, everybody get there.
Yeah. So here's the thing, folks. This isn't like a BS thing you contribute to and then you never get heard from again. There's a real opportunity here to contribute. I was really impressed with the thought that went into this and some of the ideas, and it's obviously a great place to learn and collaborate as well. But I would love, with this group online, I would love to get some of your opinions and the way we've staged our vendor campaign here, and because we're just in our infancy here, right? There's lots of things we can do. I want to make sure we're going down the right paths. And I looked at some of the ideas that we've got, and I said that's a great idea. Now I've got to figure out, how to implement that, because we hadn't put that in our calculus, So that's a great tool, and my hat's off to OMB and Kyra for getting us moving down this path. So we'll share that link, and that'll be my ask for the day, that you can at least log on and see what's there at the very least. And if you want to contribute, that would be greatly appreciated. Okay, next slide. Yeah, I talked to this already. Next slide. Yeah, and there's some of our contact information. I'm up there. We got that long Irish name, Radziszewski, but it's a mouthful. I tried to change it, but I had all these clearances in the middle. It wasn't a good idea. I decided to keep it, So anyway, but thanks for the opportunity. I rambled a little bit there. I apologize. I'm trying to get through a lot of information, let you know what we're up to, and again, we really appreciate your time and attention to let us share a little bit about what we're doing here.
Well, I just think this whole of government approach to serving better and getting a handle on IT category management at a larger than GSA vision is tremendous. And I think the government and citizens will really feel the impact of this, of what you're talking about here. It's quite amazing.
Yeah, we really are agnostic. And believe me, if anybody knows me at GSA, I was a P&L hound. That was my job, is to bring money into the contracts and the GWACs. But then when I get to work, this is a whole new area. I'm loving it that it is government-wide and we can really support. And we're starting to get those kind of questions rolling in to us, from many smaller agencies as well. So anyway, thank you again for that.
Yeah. Of course. And Kira did put the direct link to the IdeaScale campaign. So you can sign up for an IdeaScale account and contribute that way. Thank you so much, Kira. And I think now we're going to move on to Q&A. So typically in these meetings, we try to help streamline the questions. So if anybody out there does have questions, please put them in the chat and we'll get through them one by one and combine common ones. But I know John and Warren and Kira are experts in this and they can answer just about anything. To kick us off, I was wondering if you could describe, and maybe the answer is we're not sure yet, the kinds of artifacts that you think that this group is going to come up with. I mean, I heard you say best practices or maybe some reference documents or lessons learned. Is it going to be like playbooks, or are you going to take it one vendor at a time?
Yeah. I mean, I can answer it. Warren may have. Warren, did you want to talk to any of that, or Kyra? I don't want to hog the mic, but I've got some definite ideas as well.
If you wanted to start out, John, and then we can add on.
Yeah, so I think, what we're trying to help agencies do is do a little bit better in their acquisition and put together, solicitations that are more meaningful, that make sense, that are, that invoke the latest, best products and, the commercial product offerings and, and leverage, a lot of that. So, groups like this are, your experts on the acquisition front. So, any guidance we can provide, like, and it could be as basic as, how to write a statement of objectives. We'll have templates available for that. And then we'll have links on our site to other sites like the Cloud Information Center at GSA that's really come around, and they're trying to do, similar things, right? But it's making sure that agencies have the tools and the docs they need to really help them, answer questions and, position themselves and negotiate with vendors in the best possible way. So they really understand, they become more expert on their end. So when they're sitting across the table from a sales team, they can ask the right questions, ask for the right terms and conditions, these types of things. And I don't even want to guess how many, different types of documents and artifacts are out there, but I think everything's on the table now, especially in the acquisition side. If you, especially with a group like this, if you have lots of experience, and I said, yeah, I wish I had read that document before I put this solicitation out, would have been great news. So I'll stop there, but generally we're looking for SME expertise along that line, along the acquisition front, and it can cover the broad spectrum. So Warren.
Yeah, and I just wanted to supplement what John said. A couple of the things that are artifacts that we will have posted and will post to the VMO website. So we have a group called the Government-Wide Strategic Solutions for Desktops and Laptops. That was a group of 4 agencies that came together to figure out, from a government-wide perspective, how to standardize terms and conditions, configurations and specifications around desktops and laptops across government. That came under the auspices of category management because analysis showed that there were over 3,000 contracts in the government space for the same laptop with the same specs and configs. So what that team did was put together a workstation of the future white paper, which is one of the artifacts that's soon to be coming to the ITVMO website. And that white paper is going to be talking about the state of workstations and where they're going in the next 5 to 10 years. Another artifact that we're going to be putting there from a category standpoint is we get a lot of questions and calls regarding some of the contract solutions that we have under our purview. So under the IT government-wide category, we have around 13 contract solutions. Most of them reside within GSA. Others reside outside of GSA, such as NASA SOUP, NIH NITAC, and Army Chess. And so one of the things we did was we pulled together a 1-page snapshot of all of those vehicles, basically saying what part of the FAR they're covered under, what they offer, are they small business specific, do they charge a fee, and so forth. So that artifact is there now, and that's one of the things that agencies can use now as they look at their requirements and look at which vehicle they want to contemplate using. As John stated, we have to be category agnostic or contract agnostic. And so we're just putting the information there for them to bump their requirements against. Yes.
Yeah, thanks, Warren. Kyra, did you have anything?
Yeah, I would just add one thing to those, and you guys covered a lot of the cool stuff. I'm biased, but cool stuff that we're doing. Other resources we're looking to develop are really aligned with meeting our agency customers where they are. So we're developing a series of user stories that help agencies get to the data that currently exists. So John has mentioned that we're a broker really in this phase. So helping folks kind of maneuver through all of the data that exists in some of our government dashboards to get to the information that's most relevant to their needs and to help them make sense of it. So if you're an agency and you're trying to find vendors who provide cloud-based services that are FedRAMP certified, we want to point folks in the direction of places where that information might be available, or what have other agencies paid for similar products and services. So different things like that, but we really want to let our customers define the help that they need. So, and that's one of the reasons too, what John mentioned, we look to hear from you guys as well. So our vendor counterparts, what information can help you kind of maneuver through the federal acquisition landscape easier. So we are looking for those user stories from your perspective as well. It's really important that we get the right information on our website that's useful to you. So I provided a link in the chat to help you guys get to us, provide us feedback, and also you have the link to the latest IdeaScale campaign. So we're anxious to hear from you. So we're hopeful that we'll get some ping soon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is a group that doesn't hold back. So I hope you do get some feedback that you can use. We have a question coming from the chat from Mitzi Mead, and she's asking if there is an update on plans for CIAS.
CIAS, the gift that keeps giving. Yeah, I think there's a couple things in play. OMB's running they're working it now. They're leading what we call CIAS proper, and they're working mainly on some technical and interoperability issues, particularly around Microsoft. So that work is going to come over to the VMO probably sometime in the October timeframe, and we're going to continue to focus on some of the technical challenges up front. Right now, there are no plans to put out like a CIAS, like a BPA, something similar to DOS. It's just not in the works. But more to follow on that as we take over and we get more direction from our CIOs, from our executive steering committee on where they want to take it. But there's certain challenges that CIAS uncovered. Really around collaboration, around interoperability of different products. And I think that's what Alex D'Alessio, who's over at OMB, has been focused on. Doing a really good job, I think. So more to follow, but nothing imminent. I think the closest thing we have to it, and it's just it doesn't account for everything in CIAS, is a recent RFI that GSA put out on their cloud BPA. So kind of read up on that one if you haven't seen that RFI. I think you can gain some insight into what GSA is trying to do. They're really trying to get to a cloud consumption model, and then open up the offering, the BPA to additional companies, smalls, larges that provide some of the capabilities in CIAS, potentially not all. But more to follow. And the main reason we haven't seen anything from CIAS is the agencies really aren't pushing us to do so. So that's really, if the agencies were asking us, hey, we want one contract, we want one BPA or one GWAC that deals with all of this, I think we would have had more traction. But we're just not sensing that from the government agencies. They're all they seem fairly content with what their capabilities are, and the issues are around more. They seem to be more focused on the technical side than the acquisition side. Not sure if that answers your question. I can take it offline and give you some more if you need it.
No, I think you're giving us so much information. The other question we got was how to interface with the VMO, and I think that's answered with Kira's links that she's provided, right? There's a couple different ways, and there's also that email address for both government and industry people, right?
Yeah, I'd put up an 800 number, but who the hell would answer it? We got 4 people, small contracts. So we're not there yet. I hope to get to that. Maybe we'll do that through a help desk. But we're pretty responsive on the emails. Most people know how to reach out to us, so don't be bashful.
Thank you, Ms. Stewart, for providing information in the chat. It's wonderful. We'll have last couple of questions to the moderators. Nicole, do we see anything else coming across?
Nothing else on my end.
Yeah, I put them to sleep. Sorry about that.
No, Oh, well, I knew a little bit about the ITVMO before this meeting, but
Yeah.
not the breadth and depth of how expansive this is going to be.
Yeah, I've given this spiel so many times. Kara's given it, and Laura, you know, and I said, after you give it, I need a vacation for myself.
Well, I'm just very impressed, and I think this is going to benefit a lot of people, both on the agency, government, and citizen side. So thank you guys so much for taking the time out to give us your little roadshow. And I hope we can give you guys back some ideas via these IdeaScale and other mechanisms, because it's really introducing a great way to get ideas from all kinds of facets and perspectives and try to make government service better. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Melissa. We really appreciate the time. Okay, bye now.
All right. Bye-bye.